you have a podcast I really like called Snafu.
Thank you.
And it's very well done. It's really well written and produced, and it's telling the stories of, in this season that I've been listening to, this really scary thing that happened in 1983 that I didn't even know about. And this is going to be the series. You'll be doing multiple seasons and multiple shows about various things that have gone horribly wrong that we probably don't know about. Is that a fair summation?
So the log line of the podcast it's called Snafu, and the log line it's just about history's greatest screw ups.
Mm-hmm.
And so, as you mentioned, season 1 is dedicated each season will be dedicated entirely to one thing. Season 1 is a Cold War disaster called Able Archer 83. And like you, I didn't know about it either. And it's kind of, and the more I went down the rabbit hole, I was just like, good God, this is so important. Like it's a fascinating and very darkly hilarious story about how we almost reached nuclear Armageddon in 1983 due to like poor judgment, miscommunication, and lots of mistakes.
Yes.
But
it's pretty. It is chilling because, and the season starts out with you actually get to talk to. It's cool. You're talking to Matthew Broderick, but a very influential big hit movie came out that year called War Games.
That movie came out in the spring of 1983, and Able Archer 83 happened in November of 1983. So it was like predicting the future. It really is a eerily similar chain of events. This fictional Hollywood movie, and then reality plays out like 8 months later. And just for a little more clarity, basically, there's this NATO exercise that happened every year called Able Archer. In 1983, this military exercise, for various reasons, was perceived by the Soviet Union to be an actual staging by the West for a nuclear attack on the Soviet Union. So the Soviet Union responds by ramping up their nuclear posture. All of this is a misunderstanding on both parts. And there's some fascinating, really wild espionage going on at the time that we get deep into in the podcast. And again, there are these very darkly funny misunderstandings, but they're only funny because the stakes are so high that all you can do is laugh, right? It's
also we can laugh now because it's 2022, 23, whenever this airs, and we know that that didn't happen. Chuckle, but it's terrifying at the same time.
And what I also love about the story is that it's also a story of heroism, because the historians that exposed this story, it was secret for decades, and the CIA really tried to keep this under wraps. But a few historians really dug deep, and through Freedom of Information Act requests, were able, like over years, like very tenacious work, were able to bring this story to light and expose it for what it is. And thank God, because it's unacceptable. Right? That's what's so terrifying. It's like any risk of nuclear war is unacceptable. The stakes are cataclysmic. And when you're seeing behavior that's somehow this clumsy, I think one historian makes the analogy of two drunks circling each other in a bar, it needs sunlight. It needs to be exposed. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be analyzed
so that we don't repeat it.
Yeah, and obvious. I'm not saying that secrecy isn't important. It of course plays an important role in government affairs and in international whatever. All the CIA stuff. There's a lot of secret stuff that should be secret, but then oftentimes secrecy gets used really just as a way to perpetuate impunity. And that's not okay. And that's where I think the historians really shine on this, in this story, by bringing this whole thing to light. And it's it was so fun to do.
I've said this all the time about this podcast phenomenon. It's fun. It is really fun to get to do this. I mean, this is a way for you to follow your passion, history, but it's also there's a real nice comedic element that's appropriate at times.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's well balanced, it's really well produced, but you get to have these passion projects that you can make, and I think a lot of people are going to really enjoy this. It's called Snafu, and it's available everywhere you get your podcasts. I love saying that because I never know really what it means.
Mm-hmm.
Wherever you get your podcasts, like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
The podcast.
Where do you get your podcast?
Nordstrom.
Yeah.
I get my podcast.
Those are good
Nordstrom.
podcasts.
Yeah.
Not cheap.
To be at the epicenter of something like The Hangover, when that hits, did that affect you in any way? I mean, obviously it was a great thing for your career, but how did you? Because you're such a solid seeming person, and you're such a I mean, you do seem like someone who would not be buffeted by the winds of attention and fame, but that Hangover film came out. I don't know how did you spend at least one weekend going insane?
It was a tornado of fame and a lot of buffeting. Yes, it was very overwhelming. But I feel very lucky on that as well, because I had my public persona had risen gradually, and we had, like, when I was on basic cable on the Daily Show, we had what Colbert liked to call toy fame, which is like you can still walk around and do anything and you don't get really recognized very often, but occasionally you do.
Mm-hmm.
And someone at the airport who works at like Einstein Bagels will be like, this one's on the house. That's like toy fame. And then I got on The Office, and I was on The Office for a couple of years before The Hangover.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another ratchet up, because that's network television. And I was definitely getting recognized a lot more. And Andy had weird catchphrases, which of course ups the ante with public recognition.
Right.
People shouting things at you.
Big tuna.
Yeah, exactly. Just at baggage claim, just people shouting that. And that still happens quite regularly.
Mm-hmm.
But so I had a little bit of, I had some skills set, I guess, in sort of dealing with that. But then The Hangover was a whole new level. Like when The Hangover came out, it was so exciting. And another way in which I was lucky on that one, lucky in 10 million ways on that movie, but Bradley and Zach and I were all kind of at the same level before that. And so we were going through it together. And I really, if it wasn't for those guys, I don't think I would have stayed sane. But we all had each other to kind of be like, I don't know, just to commiserate and measure ourselves and just be like, okay, who's being, and I think we kept each other from drifting too far and being too unprofessional. Like, I don't know, it wasn't a spoken thing. It wasn't like we held each other accountable by yelling at each other or anything, but it was like if somebody was out of line or got a little too big for their britches, you could feel it on the set, and everyone would just sort of like settle back in.
Course correct,
exactly. And it was from a deep place of we're going through this thing together, like a bond. It was such a unique experience, and I look back on it and wish, and it's a classic thing of like, I wish I knew more. I wish I could go through it again with what I know now, because I don't think I really was reeling a lot of the time. Like in the aftermath of The Hangover, just kind of like how I was handling I was getting scripts for all these different kinds of projects. Like, what do? I don't know. I was kind of spinning out and panicking about different things. What kind of a career do you want? I don't just want to do comedies, right? Well, I don't know. This is a pretty killer drama coming your way. And just all these weird conversations with agents and reps and trying to figure out.
Right.
I definitely felt a lot of anxiety and
Yes.
like identity kind of just turmoil. And I will say one of the craziest things about a like massive jump into fame like that is and this is what I think people who have never dealt with that or been close to it just can't understand is the just total loss of control of your environment. So when you are a famous person, you just can't stand at baggage claim and expect it to be normal. And so a lot of times you can, there are a lot of ways to approach that. You can get very fearful and try to like hide in the bathroom until you see your luggage come out on the carousel and then run out and grab it and run away. Or, hire lots of people to do all these things for you. Or, I think the best thing is to just kind of like accept the fluid nature of these situations and accept that the stakes really are never quite as high as you think they are kind of in your mind and just roll with it. And that's been a very positive, I think, lesson beyond even the fame question. It was just like in an approach to life is just being that kind of like the river, like just flowing in those situations.
Well, I agree completely. You are amen, I say to you, because it's not Taylor Swift's fault that she can't go into a Chuck E. Cheese, and I just know that that's what she wants to do because we're friends. But no, she can't because she's Taylor. There are people in that realm, and
she's
then I
banned
think
from Chuck E. Cheese
because of some very, very, very salty language.
Well, she and Chucky have a bad.
Those songs are bad.
She wrote lots of songs about Chucky doing her wrong. The guy's a rat. He is. He's literally is a rat. But no, I think so. I do have sympathy for people like that. But I know that, like at my lower level, I know that when people see me and they go, "Hey, Conan," I go, "Hey, how are you?" And they go like, "Oh," and they say something nice about I like the podcast or thanks for the laughs. They go, "What's your name?" And they'll go like, "Oh, Steve." And I go like, "Steve, thanks. I appreciate, you make it normal and then they're fine. That's all they want."
I think it's about control. Like control makes us feel safe. And yet you actually, if you can relinquish control truly, and you will feel so much more free and safe. And it's an incredibly difficult thing to do when, you're going from an unknown person to a very, very well-known person literally changes reality. Like it changes how the world responds to you. And I always thought it was funny, like people would be like, when you get famous, they're like, "Don't go changing." And you're like, well, kind of everyone else is changing in how they're interacting with me.
Right.
So how can you even tell? Like, am I the same? Are they, is everyone, like people that I've known for 20 years are suddenly nervous around me or like, acting weird and you can't tell them don't go changing. Like what's different? It's so hard to parse and figure out. But I got to a point where I realized like it's my desire to control this that's driving me nuts.
Yep.
And once I relaxed into it and settled into it more, and like you said, just being sort of gentle and genuine with people for the most part, as long as their energy is nice, then it just goes fine.
Yeah.
It really goes okay.
I mean, I'm at the stage now where I have to tell people who I am.
Yeah.
And try and get them to approach me.
You just go to the baggage carousel even when you're not flying.
Yeah. I spend a lot of time at the baggage carousel, and I haven't flown in quite a while.
I was at LAX.
And I hold a sign that says Conan O'Brien.
Well, no, I actually saw you at LAX the other day yelling at someone to leave you alone, and he was walking away from you.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
I said, "Leave me alone. I'm Conan O'Brien, and I want my my privacy.
Yeah, and he just he ran to his car as fast. It was very weird.
That's become its own problem. I've created my own negative energy by trying to force it too much.
And that was your son?
Okay, you went too far.
Well,
your improv add-on was just insane. It's my father. Would you describe yourself as a nerd when you were growing up? I would happily put myself in that category.
Yeah, I got glasses in the second grade.
Oh my God!
And I went to the same school from pre-first through 12th grade.
Oh wow! Okay.
And so once you get glasses in that kind of situation, like you're locked in. You're a nerd, and you don't have a say in the matter. It's not a reflection of your behavior or anything. Like I was still very athletic or whatever, but I had glasses from second grade on, and I never changed my peer group. I was always jealous of the kids that would come in from other schools because I would be like, no one knows your history. What if you were a nerd at your school? Now everyone thinks you're cool. You're like a shiny new object, and I never really got that opportunity. So yes, I was a nerd.
The chance to reinvent yourself, which is everyone's dream at that time period. I was lucky because I would switch every couple of years. My old man would have to move on when the credit ran out. And
just running from HBO hotel to HBO hotel.
The occasional Showtime hotel. Get out of here. We don't have HBO. We got Showtime. But anyway, so I was able to try and reinvent, but never did.
Yeah.
Always quickly reverted to form.
Yeah.
So you had glasses, and what were your interests? Were you musical back then? So you're quite an accomplished musician. Were you musical back then?
Yeah, I started taking piano lessons when I think I was probably 8 or so. And but I also, and the funny thing is my sister had taken piano lessons. And so and she's older than me. And so I grew up with her practicing piano. And so that just was a very normalized thing. And I wound up begging my parents for piano lessons. And so that's when I started. I got my first guitar as a Christmas present. I think I was 13 or 14.
Do you remember what guitar it was?
Yeah. Of course, I still have it. It was it's an acoustic guitar. It's a Gibson Nouveau, which is it was a little period of time in the 80s where Gibson was having Gibson brand guitars made in Japan.
Yeah.
And this particular little pocket of guitars, the Nouveau models, there were also 12-string Nouveaus as well as Nouveau mandolins, and they all have pretty high marks from guitar nerds who evaluate these things. And it was like I think it was about a $400 guitar, which is like a higher end entry level guitar, at least for me at that point. Sure. And I just was blown away by this thing. It was so shiny and it just smelled good. There's something about, I feel like real guitar nerds are obsessed with how their guitars smell, particularly acoustic guitars, because the inside, like if you put your nose up to that hole, that's the wrong. Okay. That sounds terrible.
Yeah. No one's gonna take that out of context. So you get your nose right up to the hole,
right up in that hole. Oh my God, there's nothing like it.
And there's a G string there, right?
Oh God, there's a G string. You got to push that out of the way.
Uh-huh.
I have both. You disappointed me, and I have new respect for you both, Matt, right now.
That's where I live most comfortably.
Yeah, in equal measure.
Yes.
But yeah, that was my first guitar, and then my introduction to the banjo was kind of interesting. I loved bluegrass music already, and I was kind of a big fan, and I always wanted to play a banjo, but it was this sort of exotic thing that I just didn't have access to. I didn't know anyone who had a banjo.
Right.
And then all of a sudden, my high school wanted to do a production of this kind of obscure musical called The Cotton Patch Gospel, which is it's the gospel story, but as a bluegrass musical, and it's a comedy. It's really pretty brilliant, and the songs are all written by Harry Chapin.
Yeah,
and they're and they're great. It's just they're great songs, and they're bluegrass tunes, And they were like, we want to do it, but nobody plays the banjo. And I was like, give me 2 months and I'll learn these songs.
I'm picturing you too whipping your glasses off.
Yeah.
Give me 2 months. And you've got another pair of glasses underneath.
Yeah. And
give me 2 months. I'll learn that banjo.
And my guitar teacher at the time was also a banjo teacher. He one of his students was a collector and loaned me one. And we just got to work, started woodshedding on these tunes. And I didn't learn them well, but I learned them well enough. And it was like a drug. I just loved playing the banjo.
It's interesting because my primary interest was comedy, and it was foggy, but I was very interested in learning to play guitar, but comedy was first. And I remembered thinking, the banjo looks cool. Maybe I could learn the banjo. And then thinking, no, Steve Martin did that. So that door is closed to me. And I remember you look at it now like, wait, I can't play the banjo for my own fun and enjoy because Steve Martin already did that. And I remembered thinking, I know I'll be so needy that I'll pull it into whatever kind of way I'm trying to be comic. And so that's closed to me. So the banjo's closed to me completely. So I despise Steve Martin for that reason.
Sure. That is really such a comedy prism through which to evaluate something.
It's how I looked at everything for a period in my life. And my first guitar was because I started later. I was a bad drummer who morphed into a bad guitarist. But I decided, no, I need to know how to play the guitar, and I really want to know how. So a friend who knew something about it went with me, and I went to Freedom Guitar and bought for $90. I bought a Yamaha acoustic that I still have, and it's fantastic.
They're great. They're so great, especially that time. When was that?
Well, it was probably, I think I bought it in 85, but it would have been a 1970s Yamaha, and it was great. And what's interesting, and I promise I'll get us off nerdy guitar talk, but since then, I've had access to Martins and just these, now they make so many different companies make beautiful, bespoke guitars. And I've had my chance to have all of them, but I still have this fondness for, the $90 Yamaha. It worked fine.
That was a great era for the Yamaha guitars, for real. And those are also highly appreciated to this day. Can I ask you something?
Mm-hmm.
How did the hole smell?
Oh, Jesus.
Well, I'm glad.
How did that Yamaha's hole smell? From one guitar nerd to another.
Well, I'll just tell you then. I would always sprinkle nutmeg into the hole, and you can take that any way you want.
Okay,
because
I'd like to not take it anyway.
It goes for all holes.
Return it to you.
I'm taking it in like the butthole way. Sorry.
Oh no!
Okay.
I put vanilla up there. Nutmeg is for the instrument.
That feels like it would burn. I don't know. It's vanilla extract or like a vanilla ice cream.
I meant the extract.
Yeah, because that's
it's pure alcohol.
Yeah, that's a
but
chemical.
It's sanitary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Huh.
The hard part is finding someone who will apply it. That's the tricky part. I often will try and pay a pastry chef to do it, and they're like, "I'm not into this." Well, I pay them very well. Why did we get on this?
I don't know. I could go down the nerdy guitar stuff for days. It's my favorite stuff.
I have to be careful. There have been several times on this podcast where guitars come up, and then
if it's between that and vanilla up your butt, let's go with guitars.
Okay,
feel free.
I like vanilla up the butt. I'm sorry. I love guitars, but I
what are you talking
really
about?
want to talk.
What are you talking? You want to talk about that?
I meant talk about it.
You just said I really love vanilla up the butt.
No.
You've got children. You have two babies at home.
My God.
This is something your kids are going to be teased about in the schoolyard.
No, come on. All right, I'm
Your
done.
mom likes vanilla up. Well, this is all Ed Helms' fault.
Yeah.
A dirty, dirty comic.
Yeah.
Ed Helms. I wanted to get the one and only clean interview with Ed Helms. And already
it's hard. I won't let you do it.
Hey there, welcome to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I'm joined by Sona movsesian, Matt Gourley. Nice to see you folks.
Why'd you pause?
I paused because I was thinking, and then I thought, yeah, it is nice to see you.
Oh.
Sona, you're having a bit of an issue today. You had a bit of a spill, and this is a common problem for you, is it not?
It's a common problem.
You're a spiller.
I am. You know what?
Okay,
Before
you know
I
what
get
I love?
angry.
You know what I love? You always say, what? And then immediately say, yes.
I know, because you are right. I do
That's
spill
true.
on myself a lot. And I have to be more aware of it because this is filmed. But earlier today, I had a dish with pesto, and I spilled it all over.
Oh, I see it.
My,
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
It's right
see it
there.
great?
And
Yeah.
how did you try to get it out?
With a Tide stick. Shout out Tide.
Well, not shout out Tide, because I don't think it worked.
Well, you used the Tide pesto stick?
Yeah, it's got to be specifically Tide pesto.
I really got it in. And then and then it was wet for a really long time. They were like 2 wet spots. And then I thought, oh, when it dries, maybe it'll be cleared up, and it's not. And it's bothering me.
That's got to go to it, isn't it? Boy, and can I say I've known you quite a while, Sona, and you have been traditionally a spiller.
I'm a sloppy eater.
Yes.
Oh,
Well, you are.
who else is a sloppy eater? You are a sloppy eater.
I don't spill on myself though. I always wear a giant bib. And then I say goo goo gaga when I'm eating.
Oh, my God.
And I have to feed you.
And you have to feed me. And why do I wear a bonnet when I eat? I kick my feet up in the air in little booties.
Yeah, and you're sitting in a high chair.
And often doze off, and then you put me right in the crib. Sona, why? It's just something I used to request.
Oh, my God.
And you went along with it.
I want out. I want
6'4" baby needs to go to bed. Look, we all have our fetishes. That was mine.
Tried to
Brapped.
burp you.
What are you going to do in the future to avoid these spills? Because
Nothing.
okay,
It's just a part of my life. It's like something I know about myself. And I think I need to carry more Tide sticks. Shout out Tide.
well, or
Send us-
something that's going to work. Did the Tide stick work? Do you think?
No.
Okay, well then, why do you want more of them sent this way? And maybe they just need to work on their formula, or maybe Tide's going to say, "Look, we're a good product, but there's nothing we can do with Sona movsesian." Like that's not fair. Like that's not fair. You know,
I do have
we're
them
a good
everywhere.
sponge, but you just threw us in the Pacific, and you're bitching that it's still the Pacific is still there. So I'm going to say Tide. I bet you're a great product because I can almost not see it, and it's Sona movsesian.
Yeah,
so
really.
Good work, Tide.
I have a lot of them all over the place. Sometimes they
What,
work
Tide sticks?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, so you're like someone who hides knives around the house. Only for you, it's Tide sticks.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
You know
what
when
do you
people
mean hide
when they hide
knives?
weapons in movies, when
Oh,
people
yeah.
have secreted weapons and
Yeah.
guns around the room? That's you, except it's all cleaning sticks.
Yeah, it
But when
is.
you have a 3-year-old, I'm the same way. Your clothes are constantly covered in food from your kids, you know?
Yeah, it's from the kid.
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Uh-oh.
No, it's from me.
Oh, wow.
I'm just
Do
like
you often get food on your kids?
They're very
You
clean.
have three-
They're very
They're
tidy.
very
You have
clean.
3.5-year-olds who are always wearing little white tuxedos and very fastidious about their eating habits.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey guys, this burrito's good that mama's blah. mommy, our white tuxedos.
You know, I love eating.
Yes.
I love eating, and I'm a shoveler into my mouth,
Yeah.
and so it just sometimes it spills on me, and that's okay because
You know what I love?
It's an expression of joy.
I love that you love eating. I eat quickly. I unhinge my mouth, get it in, and swallow it, and I don't enjoy it.
You have to enjoy it.
I know, but will you agree that?
Yeah, yeah,
It's just.
yeah.
I've got to get rid of that. I'm getting better, but that just get to the grave mentality. Get
Well-
this food in and then get to bed and blah.
I like, for me, it's like I swear, I feel like after every bite, sometimes I can hear in my brain going, yum, 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 yum.
That's
And then
nice.
I'll do it again. And I'll be like, yum, yum, yum,
You know,
yum,
I can
yum,
tell
yum,
when
yum.
Sona's liking her food is that she'll have a knife and fork, and if she's really liking it, she conducts a little bit while she's chomping.
Like it's a
she does.
symphony?
She's like, and then I can see her. I've seen her conducting an orchestra that's not there
I do
because she's
that.
really liking her food. You do that.
I do. I really
Well, people
do
in
that.
cartoons do that.
That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, you should be more like me.
I should.
Yes,
You know what? I've
you
always
should aspire to love the food you eat as much as I love
and
my
love
food.
life
Yeah, I do
as
love
much as
life.
you do.
Yeah,
You're Zorba.
but yeah, okay, all right.
No, you are.
Yes.
You're Zorba the Armenian.
Okay. Also quarter Greek.
And also quarter Greek.
Yeah,
You're Zorba
yeah.
the quarter Greek.
I think, and you get to like eat such delicious food. I feel like, okay. All right. Never mind.
Whenever the waiter brings it over, I'm like, he starts to say, now let me tell you what we did with the food. And I'm like, let's get it in me. Grave waiting. Sir, what we do here, it's very beautiful. We infuse the olives. Just push it in the hole. Then open the casket and shut it.
Oh my God.
So someone else can live. I want to give up my spot. That's me. I don't know what my problem is, but that's always been me.
From now on, in your head, just go yum 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 yum
Yum yum yum yum yum yum. Conducting an orchestra that isn't there. What about you, girl? You seem like someone who can live. You live life. You enjoy.
I'm more like. I mean, even more like you. But lately, I've been more like you. But I wish I could say it was because it's like life. It's more stress. I'm like finding in my 20s it was weed. My 30s it was weed. 40s was alcohol, and 50s is food. Is how I cope.
Oh.
Kind of like I've used up all those other ones, you know? So now I love food, but it's like a stress coping.
You skipped heroin.
That's my 60s.
Heroin in your 60s, never a bad idea. This message brought to you by blah, 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 blah.
Yesterday, I was having lunch with my friend, and I had to come here.
I
had to come here, and I had there was a piece of sourdough on the table, and I was like, should I take it with me? And then I did, and I just came here just shoving a giant slice of sourdough in my face.
So you walked down the street holding the sourdough that you had taken from
just
the table.
Just a huge slice of sourdough. And I was like, is this a normal thing to do, to just eat a giant piece of bread?
Okay. That's kind of Parisian, you know?
Yeah,
You're walking
exactly.
Down the street having some bread.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right,
you were
cool.
walking along the
I'm
banks of the
European.
Seine here in Larchmont.
Yeah.
And there was someone, did you pass an old man playing the accordion?
No.
Yeah.
Did you pass a painter painting a nice landscape?
How about a mime?
A mime?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, we went too far.
Yeah, a lot of stereotypes.
Well, anyway, I'm going to try. I do think I should try and be more like you, even if it means the occasional spill.
Okay.
Enjoy life, live life, Tide. It's the stick that can help anyone but Sona. My guest today has starred in such movies as Y Tu Mama Tambien and Rogue One. As Star Wars Story, you can also see him in season 2 of the hit Disney Plus series Andor. I love Andor. I know you're a fan too, Matt.
Yes, sir.
I'm thrilled he's here today. Diego Luna, welcome. SurveyMonkey can help you uncover what the people you care about think. Whether you're launching a new product or app or in charge of creating great customer experiences, success comes from caring enough to ask your audience the right questions. Questions like, is SurveyMonkey a good name for a company? I'm sorry, had to get one in there. SurveyMonkey is way more powerful than you might realize. Writing good survey questions is very hard. You ask the wrong thing, you end up with unhelpful answers. SurveyMonkey is like having access to a survey scientist on demand. I'm sure they're not called survey scientists, but whatever, it doesn't matter. It uses AI-powered technology to pick the best questions in the best formats to get your insights that you can trust. And after you send your survey, SurveyMonkey doesn't just show you the responses, it uses powerful AI to dig in deep, find patterns, and spot trends. Whether you're a business owner trying to understand what your customers want, a marketing manager collecting feedback on a campaign idea, or a part of an HR team working to build a happier workplace, or someone trying to find a good name for your company, you can get real insights with SurveyMonkey. Physician, heal thyself. Visit surveymonkey.com/results. You feel safe being with me. That's
being
nice.
your friend.
Yes, being my friend.
I mean, I can use that, right?
Yeah.
I've been using it
yeah.
to get into places, to get away with doing things that are dodgy, you know? I go like, oh, but I'm Conan's friend. And they go like, oh, of course, now we get it.
oh, wow. Okay, like, I'm glad that my name creates that much of a sense of protection for you.
Yes.
You live, we were just talking before we began that you live in Mexico City and in the south, or as I say, el sur.
El sur, claro.
Sí.
Claro,
Porque
Conan, claro.
yo hablo español perfectamente. Pero, listen.
Oh, God.
And I know. Here's the great dynamic. Eduardo, our sound.
I love. It's not Eduardo. It's Eduardo.
Eduardo. Eduardo is in a constant hell of me pretending that I am fluent in Spanish and understand the culture, and that maybe I'm from Central America or Mexico.
Oh,
and
You look it.
I look it.
Yeah.
you can blend right in.
So and then you immediately bonded with Eduardo because of the pain.
As soon as we arrive to a place, as soon as you get into a place and someone speaks Spanish, you go like, oh, okay, I'm comfortable now.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's going to protect me.
That's why you're comfortable being his friend.
Yeah. No, but
obviously, yeah.
But what about
Obviously
when
he's
someone
Spanish.
like me butchers it in a well-intentioned way?
It's very. I mean, it makes me feel like, like I've done something good in my life. That I get to witness you trying so hard. Because like the first times I went to your show, it's you. I mean, I'm freaking out always before going in there.
Oh,
yes.
Well, just because I'm so scary. I'm tall, very, very white.
Well, yeah, and you have an audience, and they laugh, to what you say, and so
Or they're punished.
or they punish, or no one pays them, so they laugh at what you say, and that makes everything you say be so like.
Yes.
So then you're freaking out. So it's kind of nice to see you now freaking out, trying to speak another language.
Yes. Well, you and I have a bond which is very important to me.
Yes.
Which is many years ago during the first Trump administration, my staff and I, when we were doing the show at TBS, and you were part of this, Sona, we worked it out with Televisa, and we did a show from Mexico City, and you were a guest, and it was really a beautiful thing. I loved doing that show. I did a monologue in Espanol and got through it, and the audience actually kind of laughed at sort of the right places, and I think there was some pity there.
Oh.
But there's some pity.
Like, he's trying.
He's trying. He's really trying, which is how my wife...
They were all Televisa actors. All the people from the telenovelas were sitting there. Didn't they look extra cute?
They were so beautiful.
Well, yeah.
I did... and it was... But you came on the show and...
No, you did amazing. I just want to make sure people understand. You really put yourself there, which was something like... It needed guts. It was like a big risk and a lot of fun to see you really going for it.
Well, what was fun is the former president of Mexico came on the show, and they're in my office. He gave me these boots.
Holy crap.
Which say, no fucking wall. And then he put my name on them. And they're fantastic. They're fantastic boots. He found out my size.
He does good boots, I guess. That's what he does good.
His main contribution, I think, as the president was people voted for him because he made good boots.
I'm sure he charged someone for those boots. I mean, they might be a gift to you, but not
somebody
coming
had
out
to pay.
as a gift. Yeah,
somebody had to pay.
Paid for that. Yeah.
But we were talking earlier about. We did that show, and it was a very special time, and we thought, those times ended. Yeah. And now in some ways those times have returned with a vengeance. Mm-hmm. And I know you touched on it a little bit when you first started talking about how you feel safe being here, and these are tricky times, but it is, and we're not the most political podcast. We're really not a political podcast at all. But we have to address the fact that you and I had this really special time and this special moment during that first administration, and then many of us thought that we were moving past that to maybe a better future, and here we are again.
Yeah, history repeats, no? And reloaded kind of thing, no?
Yeah.
It's it's I don't know. I'm shocked on many things of what we're witnessing these days, mm-hmm. And I think the best way to talk about this is I don't think I can fully understand what some part of the community, the Hispanic community in this country are going through, mm-hmm. The fear and it's like, I can't imagine I mean, how that is, that you dedicate your life, work, to build something, and suddenly they tell you they're gonna take that away from you instantly, just because of it. It's quite scary. Yeah, scary times. But
it's also just pointing out that I've been living in Los Angeles for many years, and Matt and Sona are from Los Angeles, but you live here in Los Angeles, and everybody I work with, everybody who works with me, everybody who helps me in any way or helps my family in any way with, everything that needs to be done with our house. There's in every way, every day, I'm working with people who are from Mexico or Central America or South America. They are they are the community in Los Angeles. That just feels like it's such a, they're doing all the work, which is really powerful to see every day. And it's, I have empathy, because if you're paying attention, you understand that it feels like 80% of what's getting done here to sustain, our lives and our culture and our community is coming from south of the border. So, I didn't mean for things to get this heavy this quickly, because you're such a funny guy. But I think I just had a little bit of a flashback to the times we've spoken before, and I know that this is very important to you, and you're a very proud and vocal member of your community, and so it's meaningful to me that you're here today. Because I've been thinking about it a lot lately, and I was very happy you're coming, and it meant so much to me that you did our show in Mexico City, and I consider you a very special friend for that reason.
I consider you a special friend too, man. And I was very disappointed to hear that, because every time I have to come and promote something, I always go like, can we go to Conan? And I'm glad we're here.
So you're creating the impression that people say no.
Well, it's just that you don't have a show anymore.
That would not be a good move for you.
What happened?
Diego, we're trying to build up your career, and it's really going great for you.
Exactly.
Conan's the wrong move at this time. No, you're always welcome here. Always welcome here.
I love that now you have this new format. I love it. And it's good we started like that. It's good we said it, because it's important. You cannot come to this country. You cannot come to California. You can not be in front of a microphone and not say something about that. What
situation,
what this community is going through, and the amount of support and help they need these days. They need you to show up. So that you dedicate some space for that means a lot. And it's a good example of what people should be doing with microphones these days. That being said, I do miss you having a show on TV, because now I can't go there when I have something to promote.
Well,
I might stop acting.
You can come here, and also I do a travel show now for Max, so maybe we'll go someplace.
Oh, can we travel together?
We just did a new season is starting in a few days, and Javier Bardem did a whole episode with me in Madrid, and we're total idiots, lunatics. It was really fun and silly. And
he's a fun guy.
He is a really fun guy, and and I'm thinking you and I will find we'll find a way to go and do it. I mean, you did do a travel show with me, because that was the Mexico City show, but in this new HBO Max format, it would be really fun to do something with you. So we'll do it.
I would love to.
I'm going to bring you to Northern Ireland. Where you'll feel right at home.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. You're not gonna believe it, but I am half Scottish.
I did know that.
Okay,
I did know that.
My mom was born in Scotland and Scottish family. I have a big British family, and I've never traveled through Scotland looking for my roots. So
this is perfect.
That's perfect, because and now I have to pay you for the idea.
I did have the idea, right? Eduardo, Eduardo, you got it right.
No.
You got my
got it.
back, man. Gracias.
Okay. And, Eduardo.
Eduardo.
Por favor. ¿Cómo se dice edit? I wonder what the word could be. But no, that would be fantastic. I know that because I was reading about your family. I know you lost your mom at a very early age.
Yeah.
And your father, this fascinates me. Your father was a set designer for everything, for theater, for opera, for movies, anything. And so you grew up. It's no accident. I mean, I'm sure part of it's you're extremely talented, obviously, but you grew up in a house where your dad would be building sets in the house that had to inform your sense that, life is magical and mysterious, and there's different. My dad is building weird sets for operas in the house that would maybe make you think this is a world I could inhabit.
Definitely. And I saw things go from like a quick drawing to like a model thing to then suddenly like a gigantic set, Mm-hmm. There is a film called Santa Sangre, and I was very young. That's why I remember Santa Sangre, because it made a huge impact. It's a Jodorowsky film, and my father was working there as the art director, and there's this moment where an elephant dies, and I was with half of the head of the elephant and the trunk. You call them trumps? Trunk.
Yeah.
Trunk. Oh, yeah. Good. I just said trump, right? Damn it.
Listen, he's the other end of the elephant.
Cut to 1930s audience applauding. Very well done, Matt. Very well done.
I'm sorry to bring that. I wasn't trying. So, and because the thing, there's a moment where blood is coming out of the trunk.
Yeah.
But I had the piece of the prop, the gigantic thing in my living room for months. I was interacting with that thing.
It's like the sandworm.
Exactly.
From Dune.
Well, that's
exactly.
Jodorowsky as well, dude.
Yeah.
Well, exactly. So it was quite a thing, and my father at the same time, because everything you do somehow at that age is to piss off your parents. No?
Yes. Yeah.
So my father, like he loves actors and he works for actors to suddenly use his sets, but he always complains about what they do. He would always say like, "Oh, the actor never gets in the light. Where I put a light here and he stands there. Then I move the light and he stands in the other side." Or like
these damn actors
don't know how to use the ramp in the theater or blah blah blah. So I decided to become an actor, also to piss him off.
And then intentionally stand in the wrong spot.
Exactly. But yes, it was. And to be honest, it was more. I never had like the moment where I went like, "Oh, I wanna be an actor because of what happens on." It was just about being part of his world,
sure,
and make sure no one would take him away from me, and also because school was boring and it was nice to feel I could be around adults that were acting like kids,
Yeah.
That's what theater represented for me. Like these adults are much more fun than the kids in school. These adults. These crazy adults pretending to be someone else, telling stories, playing games, spending all day in this fantasy world.
It's like fun. That old idea of running away with the circus.
Yeah.
There's my reaction to getting into comedy, and when I was 18, 19, and seriously thinking about it was, wait a minute, this can be a job? I just assumed that my job had to be something that I hated, that, I have to go and do something serious and it's going to be something I hate, but then I can be fun with my friends and my family when I go home.
Yeah.
And the idea that this could be a profession was insane to me because I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. Nobody's doing that. It was a very strange feeling, but I know that idea that, well, of course I'd rather do this than go to school.
Yes.
Or memorize something or take a test.
And also it's a family that shares a passion, and that is like such a difficult thing to find, Imagine a Christmas dinner where everyone talks about something that matters to the other, because Christmas are like, oh my God, here the drunk uncle again. Oh shit. Now he's going to tell the story of, but imagine you care about what they're talking about and you really want to be around that gang. And that's how it feels in these communities, Also, my mom passed away when I was 2 years old, but she was a costume designer and a painter, and she worked with half of the people I grew up working with. So, on a way, it was her love stories that were around me, and all these people trying to be their best because they knew my mom wasn't around. So suddenly everyone was feeling for my mom, somehow. I got all these crazy, interesting mothers, that were
That's
like
beautiful
actresses or directors or designers. And they were all like very into making my life nice and easy and fun. And it was the best.
You've said that you had a real connection with women always, and this, what you're saying may have been the introduction to it, but that women would befriend you and confide in you and trust you, and you were that guy growing up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Which sometimes I was that way a little bit, and I take it a little bit as an insult. Like, Conan, we don't see you as a sexual threat.
Yes.
You don't even seem like a man to us. So we're very comfortable. I'll braid your hair, you braid mine, and we'll tell you all our secrets. And there was a time there where I thought this is insulting, but I'm still happy.
Yes, no, I never felt I was being insulted.
Yeah,
not at all. And I do connect with that, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, and always also there was stories you could tell. No, I mean, because I was having a life that no other kid was having, so I could talk to you about stuff no one else could.
Yeah.
So it was fun, I guess. That's a nice way in. But then it's quite frustrating to have to go back home and say like, oh no, she's now with a boyfriend. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We have this great deep connection, but she doesn't see me that way. She's with this other guy.
That happened to me, like for a year or two of my life.
Yeah.
Then things got better. Are you still there? Because you look very
well,
very sad.
Things never got better. I do have a wife. I love her, and we've been together a long time, but she also does not see me as a sexual person.
You're the mayor of friend zone.
Yeah. I'm in the friend zone. I have a very healthy marriage, but I'm in the friend zone with my wife of 23 years, and I don't know how that happened. And we have 2 children, but who knows how that happened.
For your wedding, you guys just gave each other friendship bracelets.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Instead of kissing after you high-fived.
We high-five. Do you take this friend to be your friend? And do you take this friend to be your friend? I've always believed that your home should be an expression of who you are. I have that tattooed on my low back. I could have had so many things tattooed down there, and that's what I chose.
Down there.
Yeah. Anyway, whether you're redecorating a single space or furnishing your entire home, Ashley has styles that balance timeless appeal and modern trends to bring your personal look home. You don't want it to look like someone else decorated your home.
Yeah.
Ashley offers, good job, Sona. Ashley offers, don't know how I do it without you. Ashley offers well-crafted, affordable pieces built to stand up to real life, not phony pretend life. They offer fast, reliable white glove delivery right to your door. Nice. Ding dong, hello. Hey, what are you guys wearing white gloves for? We're here from Ashley. Whoa, you guys are wearing white gloves. That's right. We said white glove service. You sure did. You guys kept your promise. Visit your local Ashley store or head to ashley.com to find your style. Well, I'm curious about, I know the breakout for you was that beautiful, terrific movie, Y tu mamá también, and that How old were you when you did that film?
That's probably the best Spanish I've heard from you. No, really, wasn't it?
Yes.
Didn't he say, "Y tu mamá también"?
Y tu mamá también.
See,
Said it
okay,
perfectly.
okay, guys, if we call it out every time I manage to get it kind of right, it makes it worse. Okay?
Good job, Conan. You did it.
That was cute.
Aw.
Oh my God. This is quite like a structure.
you
Your
ever
show
noticed-
is about them making fun of you the whole time.
Yes.
Is that
when
it?
guests are here,
Because-
when you guys leave, though, he comes at us.
Oh, yeah,
but
yeah.
you don't record that. Therefore, like the
No,
actual.
no, no.
we
Oh,
do.
God, we record it.
Okay.
No, I am very comfortable being. I'm one of 6 children in my family. I have many brothers and sisters, so being mercilessly made fun of
Okay.
is in my DNA, and I actually in a sick sadomasochistic way. I like it. But
Yeah, sorry.
that,
you
that-
were
no,
saying,
no.
yeah.
I was saying that was. How old were you when you made that film? You were.
I was 19.
19,
I
yeah.
think when we did that film, and
that
it-
kind of changed. I mean, obviously, theater was a big part of your life, and theater still is a big part of your life. But that must have been a huge
Yeah.
change for you.
I was
that
doing,
film.
yeah, because I was very comfortable and in Mexico, and I didn't even think it was possible to actually start like moving around and traveling with my work and finding new audiences. Like I was pretty comfortable doing cinema that was very small. We had an industry that was doing 10 to 12 films a year back then. So it was very small. Your family would watch it and someone in a festival probably, but that was it. But I had theater and I was doing TV to support myself. I was living by,
What kind of TV did you do?
like the last
Did you do telenovelas?
the last telenovela I did, it was just right before Y tu mamá también, because I was 19 years old. I remember that day as like the day I stopped doing telenovelas. I'm never going to forget. But I started really like at 12.
Yeah.
I worked on the first telenovela, so it was good 7 years of my life.
I occasionally will be talking to someone from Mexico. This happens a lot. We'll be chatting, and they'll want to know. They know that I work in television. They've seen clips, but I always say to them, "Well, I did a telenovela because I did it when I was in."
Yeah,
and I was in. I
remember
think
it.
it was the something Maledicción. I forget what it's called.
Mi adorable maldición.
Yeah.
Mi adorable
That's
maldición.
that's close. It's more like mi adorable maldición. But you'll get it.
Oh,
Eduardo. Yeah.
Okay.
Get
it later.
Get it.
Yeah, no, he just needs a little more time under my tutelage.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll teach you how to do it in a Boston accent. But no, they wrote a part for me, and they were really funny. They wrote a part for me as a cheese merchant,
Uh-huh.
and they gave me a mustache, and I come in, and I have this scene where I'm getting very angry, and it's this. One of the most beautiful women I've seen in my life. The women in these, and the men are so good looking. This woman took my breath away.
Yeah.
She was so beautiful, and you can see the clip online. And there's a point where I'm getting very angry with her, and it's all in Spanish, and I'm yelling at her in Spanish. You do not treat me this way. I will not be. And she puts her hand out and she touches me, and I guess they have a name for it in telenovelas, which is the thunderbolt or something, where a woman touches a man and suddenly they have that moment of connection. And it's such a soap opera thing.
It is.
But I'm yelling at her and she touches me, and I look at her and they cut to her and she suddenly feels this emotion, which, by the way, she would never feel in real life.
No.
And the crowd went crazy. This crowd, they go crazy. And it's one of my favorite moments from my career. And I love to show it to people I talk to. I'm constantly calling it up on my phone and saying, check this out. And my wife is like, you're not making them watch your telenovela. I'm like, this is Pedro. and this is Jose. And I'm just showing it to them. And they always, it's so funny because
It all depends on the perspective, right? I'm trying to disappear everything that's out there from the work I did in
Really?
telenovelas. No,
you're
I'm
a
not.
kid. You were a young man.
I was 19. I was still doing telenovelas. And there was a few. No, there's a few that I'm more proud of than the others. But it is a big thing, and it was one. I grew up in theater where they would see they would judge you if you were going to work on a telenovela. But the point came where every actor had to be in both things,
Yeah.
to survive. Theater wouldn't be enough to pay your rent, and actors would be doing telenovelas and theater in at night, and it was quite a thing. And you can tell, like, what happens with the popularity, in telenovelas. Like, you are doing one and you're very popular, but another one comes and everyone forgets immediately,
Right.
It's that kind of thing because it's...
What some people have said too about being in soap operas or telenovelas is that if you're playing the bad guy, people in the supermarket who see you are mad at you. They're like, I don't like what you're doing, and you're like, no, that is a role that I'm playing.
Exactly.
So yes, people take it very seriously, become part of their lives.
Obviously, I mean, and things have changed. I think in the 90s and early 2000s, like, the TV was always on, in many homes, and you were there. You were part of their everyday's life, It was like telenovelas. There was the ones that were meant to be playing while you're doing something else also,
Yeah.
And that's why they repeat them over and over, the same scene, because you're not really paying attention sometimes,
Right.
But television was really important for audiences, not these days now. Now people are more like into searching for what they want to
They're
be
online.
consuming,
Yes,
Yeah.
there was a time they it's a great term for it here, where people are siloed. Everyone's in their own little tube watching all the stuff that they just want to see. They're not connected to each other.
Yeah, the bubble, no? You live in this
You're
bubble.
in your own little bubble, and you're watching, and all the content is catered just to you. If you're online, you're seeing everything that you would want to see, as opposed to when I was growing up. Obviously, I'm much older than everybody here, but it was TV there's 3-4 channels, and sometimes the only thing, and you had to wait for what had good reception, because we didn't have cable. So sometimes the channel that had something good on wasn't coming in, and then you'd flip the channel and it's a Catholic mass. You're like, oh my God, but it looks good. It's coming in. I guess we'll watch this and hope a gunfight breaks out.
Jesus.
Never did. But you're right. You were forced to be exposed to things like old movies, things that you wouldn't watch normally because that was what was on television.
Yeah.
What's fascinating to me about your career is that you have this very bohemian background: theater, small movies, art house movies, and then you're in what's arguably one of the best of the Star Wars franchise films, Rogue One, and that's got to just change everything. I mean, it's led to, today you're here because Andor is out with the second season, a show I love, by the way. It's fantastic. Cool. And I'm not even a Star Wars person per se, but I love it. I think it's a beautifully told story. And so now you find yourself in this world of a huge international audience and the power of the Star Wars franchise behind you. It's you weren't setting out, you weren't looking for that.
No, not at all. Not at all. And also because it would have been painful. There was no room. I grew up watching these films, but I never thought I never saw someone like me there.
Yep.
I never thought it was possible. And I didn't even want to. Like, I was doing theater really happy. I was, when I did it to Mamá También, I started traveling with my work, and suddenly I realized there was a community that it was really close to me. In the States, for example, when I went the first time to Sundance, I realized there was people that struggled the same way I struggled to work on film, the Hollywood wasn't a thing like a Hollywood. Like, Hollywood was just like
there were different subsets, communities.
Independent cinema, theater, people doing cinema but theater, and then cinema again, and struggling to get financing for their movies, and finally getting it, and having very little resources, so have to, like, with creativity, solve things, and all of that. I started finding those connections in the States, in London, in Spain. And suddenly was like, okay, great, I can keep doing what I do. And when I was asked to do Rogue One, or to go into the process of doing auditions for Rogue One, the director said to me, I want to do a film in this universe that tonally it feels very realistic, close to what you guys did in Y Tu Mamá También. And I was like, what?
Are you okay, man?
Exactly.
Who was saying this specifically?
Gareth Edwards, the director who I owe him being here talking about Andor, because he had the idea. He shot in Mexico a film. He loved it, Tu Mamá También, and he was crazy enough to think that there was a room for me in that project. I couldn't really believe it. I make the joke a lot of times about, like, I was sitting there going, like, what does he want from me? Does he want the number of an actor, or like, does he want me to help him with Gael, or what? You know, I don't even speak English. You know, I mean, what is this about? And he was like very honest and saying, like, and he got an amazing cast of people that were doing the cinema I was doing, but in their context, you know, yes. Felicity, Riz Ahmed, Mads Mikkelsen. Like, it was a cast of like people that were doing tiny films in their countries and dramas that were all about the storytelling and anyway. So I went into doing that and I freaked out. I was like, wow, this is amazing, because I can still be myself. And I have to thank, Lucasfilm and Disney and everyone, because they gave us the tools, but then the freedom to, you know? So it felt like I was just on a set of a film that I've been my whole life. I felt the same freedom. I didn't feel like, oh shit, we have to now behave differently because we're doing this gigantic project.
Well, I think that also the moral of the story is sometimes a big popular movie can be fantastic.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's there
can have integrity.
Yes, there can be a reverse snobbery sometimes of, oh, this is a popcorn movie. This is going to be huge. Everyone's going to love it. No. Yes, people are going to love it. A lot of people are going to see it. It's a big franchise, but and it's now this television series and it is beautifully acted. The story is so well told. And what's so fascinating to me is Cassian, your character. It makes sense to me because of the story. The backstory of Rogue One is he comes from this other place and he doesn't belong. And so there's something that lines up very neatly with someone coming from, in your case, Mexico.
Yes.
You know, and you are coming from a different land and trying to struggle to figure out what your place is in it. So it all makes sense, but it takes someone with vision to see that and go, we got to get Diego Luna. And 99.9% of the people in the room would say, what are you talking about?
That's exactly what Gareth
including
said.
me. I'd have nixed it. I'd have they did call me because I had worked with you and I said, I think it's a mistake.
It's a mistake.
Yeah.
He's very good for
I
it.
said, I'm more
Get
of
him
a
telenovela.
But, I'm more of a Cassian when you think about it.
Oh, okay.
And they did some tests and apparently not good.
No, you don't fit in the cockpits also. They're like tiny.
My head, they had to cut a hole through the spaceship.
No, but
my
it
head
is.
sticks out.
So I did realize on the process on the process of Rogue One and then Andor that it was more my prejudice speaking. You know that because I think Andor is a great example of how things should be done. You know, it is a gigantic project. It has a wonderful and very diverse reach, but the way they did it is the way they do the films I love. You know, we are there because there's a perspective, a point of view. Which is the creators, Tony Gilroy, the amazing writer and producer and director that is behind this, and we're following a leader and a voice, and if you commit to that, then that's integrity. That's where integrity comes from, you know. Yeah. And then this thing can fly and be huge, you know. And obviously, we all get it. I mean, we're part of a community. People really want to see this. People really want this to be good, and they're expecting the best out of you, and you have to bring it. But it had that kind of like that sense of like, okay, we're working for a vision, you know, from beginning to end, and I was really pleased, and then many people many people like think your life changes because of being part of a project like that.
Right.
And it's true, but not in the way probably that people imagine, It changes because like I'm a different person. I went through a revolution myself with this project. I'm part of a community. I got to work with people that are as talented as it gets, and I got to learn. But then you go back to your life, and your life is the same.
Yes.
Yeah. I go back and I want to do a tiny little film about this particular event or character, and I don't go out there and find money to do it. And they go like, oh no, that one, no, not for that one.
Yeah. No, it doesn't change, and in a way that's refreshing.
It is, because you can still be yourself, and you can go through an experience like this and be transformed in the best possible way. But then also go back to who you were without having to leave something behind or to avoid being back, as if it was a bad thing. To me, it's the opposite. Going back is great.
I've always found it very, in a way, refreshing that I'll have a moment that's supposedly like a big moment or something in my career, and then the next day someone will say, "Oh, I saw you, host the Oscars last night, and then you did a really good job."
Oh, you did a good job.
But I'll say, "Thank you very much," and they'll say, "And you can't park there."
Exactly.
And I go, oh, I'm sorry. And you're like, oh, good. It's gravity. Gravity's always acting on you.
You don't have to renounce to be yourself ever,
Yeah.
And if you have to, then you're in the wrong place. Then you're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? But you can get to the end and say like, yes, I'm still that person with the same needs and hopes and
it never
and
stops.
Dreams,
It never stops. Well, I want to cede the floor to Matt for a second because Matt is a huge...
He's falling asleep.
No.
I'm just so relaxed listening to you guys talk.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I could listen all day. I don't know that you should.
But it's only fair and right because Star Wars and all of it means so much to you. And this is, I know that you have raved about. You mean when you saw Rogue One, you thought that, oh, they've made a beautiful, beautiful movie. And
particularly Andor and Rogue One, and what you and Tony Gilroy and all the other actors are doing is so damn enjoyable and so good. I mean, it's just, that's all I have to say.
No, but I mean, you were in a very happy place today because Diego was coming in, and I know What I've noticed about Andor is that there are some shows that are part of a big franchise that kind of demand X, Y, and Z. And I remembered going to see, when I was a kid, my brother Luke and I went to see the movie Dune, this with Kyle MacLachlan in whatever it was, 1980 or something, at the Hearthstone Plaza Theater, which isn't even a theater anymore. I think it's a pot dispensary because everything that I grew up with is now a pot dispensary. Except the pot dispensary is now an ATM. But I remember we got there and they handed you a little booklet that you had to read before you could watch the movie that explained, okay, this is this. And I thought, what the fuck is this?
I think that's just because what David Lynch did to that story.
God bless his soul.
Yes.
But anyway.
I like him, don't get me wrong.
Yeah,
it's just insane.
You and your anti-David Lynch propaganda, I won't have it. But what I love about Andor is you can know absolutely nothing. Mm-hmm. And it's just great storytelling. Really great storytelling and terrific acting, and then
and you get to sit in a TIE fighter. What's that like?
Oh yeah. We got to that.
You be quiet.
The TIE fighter, it's a special prototype, right?
That sure is.
It was fascinating because things actually work. And
you guys can go. We got this.
No, I want to hear. So, when you say things actually work, what do you mean?
You turn on a button and a light comes on. Mm-hmm. The screens are showing you, information you can relate and communicate, with the object.
I didn't know that.
It's I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how they do every Star Wars show, but ours is very mechanical. It's very much like a homage to the filmmaking that started the whole thing.
You can feel it,
and so we are interacting with props, with real pieces of the stage is real, is built. You have to wait till it's built. You have to use it, and then they bring it down. There's a whole process, and there's a whole design behind things. Things don't get decided later. They don't tell you like just turn buttons and pretend you're flying, and then we'll figure it out.
Yes.
No, there's a reason. There's things on the right, things on the left. If you move these forward, it has to be like this, and also there's someone behind the design, so there's someone defending the design and telling you and walking you through what you are about to use. Therefore it's like actually happening, and you're in a platform that actually moves. So turn right, and the thing moves right, left, down, up. If you're hit, it shakes.
Are they ever like your father, where they're just like, oh, he's messing up my design? Or
many times, I'm sure that happened. Many times, and sometimes you have screens in front of you, so you are looking at what's gonna be there. Somehow. So it is the putting together of the show takes a long time, because there's a lot of work behind everything, and that again is because it has to do with the vision. The way Tony writes is very special. You'll be interested in this. Like he doesn't write a scene where they go like, okay, they're doing a podcast in a studio, and he sits down with the set designer and says, okay, how big is the studio? Okay. And they design a studio and a piece of paper, and they go like, okay, they'll have a table with 4 microphones. So over there is going to be the computer. There's 3 seats there. So when he's writing the scene, he's describing a space that already exists and that is being designed for this. Therefore, everything has a reason, everything has a purpose, and things are already designed when he's writing, and he's the master, I believe, of collaboration, because somehow in that moment it's not just his material, it's also the production designer's material, because his vision is already in the page. So when you get to the place and you read a line and a direction, it makes sense. You go like, oh, okay, I get it. Now I get it.
But it informs. It informs. It's a collaboration between, because your acting then it's a collaboration between all this work that's happened before you even show up to set.
Definitely.
And one of the things that always, because I'm old enough to remember what it used to be, science fiction used to be shiny and clean, meaning spaceships always were kind of shiny,
Buck Rogers,
everything, and people wore these immaculate spacesuits, and that was what we knew as science fiction. And if you watch 2001, that's how it is. And then I want to say Blade Runner was kind of a revelation, because things, as we all know in real life, cars are rusty or dirty or banged up or dented, and then in Star Wars you saw that things are kind of retrofitted. They're kind of holding it together with tape.
Yeah.
The Millennium Falcon's got some problems. Some of the robots or the droids are kind of dirty. They've been banged around a little bit. And I remember that being a real revelation. And what you really see in Andor and in Rogue One too is also just this idea that these are machines that get used. They have to be fixed. They have to be repaired. There's dirt everywhere, things get fucked up, and that informs the story a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, clearly it makes it, to me, more real. It makes it very real, and it's different than the science fiction I grew up with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's just so tactile, the world that you guys have created, and you just feel like it all exists for real. How much of it is on location, or at least exterior, right? Because the wind's blowing and it doesn't feel like a studio.
It's all Cleveland. All of it. And you don't have to do anything to Cleveland. It just looks like the
first season we had in mind was it was going to be a shoot that we were going to travel around the world, hoping to be in amazing locations and again be a homage to filmmaking. Allow the accident of the real location to be part of the result. And the creative process to be influenced by what happens when you're out there, and you can't control everything. But then the COVID came, and we had to adjust, and we did a show that happened mostly on studio because we had to be there, and we started building things in the studio, and they built Ferrix completely, like the whole town. And it's a town like you can get lost in Ferrix. I mean, Adria talks about getting lost in Ferrix, and it did happen. Like you can, it's so wonderful. But it's a design that Luke Hall did next to Tony, and Tony understood the logic of that city perfectly, and then started writing for the city. And the city gave you everything, gave you alleys, big streets, stores, food, the restaurants, the hotel, the place where you would need to hide do exist, and they're the size for you to actually play that scene there. You don't have to you can shoot in order and allow things to actually happen. That's how we did the first season. Then we went to Scotland for a bit when we were allowed to travel, and to the mountains, and it was beautiful. And again, you can't control everything. There's a scene where we are supposed to be in the top of the mountain, seeing where we're gonna hit the next day to do the big robbery, and we get to the mountain. There's just you can get in cars to one point, and then we had to walk, and we get with all the equipment to the top of the mountain, and there's a huge cloud not moving.
Oh no.
And we go like, oh God. And it signifies those scenes, you have a scene with Nemik talking about how much fear he has for what's coming, and it adds, because yes, I'm scared too. We can't even see where we're going. This is crazy, but the scene just becomes that scene. There's no
telling the cloud, hey, this is
Lucasfilm. I mean, come
move
on.
along, cloud.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Kathleen Kennedy sent a note that would. No, it's not. And the beauty of this is that it brings all the attention to where it has to be. Everyone is, focus on, okay, how do we tell the story? How do we tell the story? Because also we know the story by that point. Yeah. There is a secrecy, out of the bubble. But for us, we're all very much invested in the same story that Tony Gilroy wants to tell,
That's great. I'm just sad this is the last season, right? Is it?
Well, sad, but relieved, no?
Yeah. Yes, I'm
also because it's hard to.
For you.
No, but not in terms of like, I want to be at home. No, it's just like it's not easy to get something right.
Yeah.
So when it happens, it's nice that you keep it that big. Let me put it this way: I think TV has brought great things, it's a great place for young talents to find their voices. It's wonderful. It's taking all the risks cinema stopped taking, which is great. But there's one thing I don't like, which is things start without knowing where they're gonna end.
Yeah,
everyone's talking about the next season, and probably there's another one, and there's an anxiety of like, how much more can we achieve?
Yeah,
and it's nice to start something knowing where it ends.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, you throw everything in, you put everything there. And if you succeed, you celebrate. And if you don't, you learn and you try again. But knowing the ending of the story allowed us to work this tough and in detail in relish all those layers that you can bring in. But I remember we sat down in the first season, half the way of the shoot, in Scotland, Tony and I, and he was like, we can't do 5 seasons of these. Like, it takes 2.5 years of our lives,
Yeah,
I'm going to be 60 years old pretending I'm the guy I was, in 2016. Impossible.
Yeah.
So how do we do this? And he came up with the idea of doing these 4 blocks, because our goal was, let's tell the story of the 5 years before Rogue One, and then finish this story the moment Rogue One starts, right? That was the goal. So he came up with this idea of, like, in the second season, move through 4 years of the life of these characters and get to the point that we promised at the beginning. And that was such a relief, because then suddenly we understood that it was possible, that we had to aim for another 3.5 years of work, but we were going to make it,
Which is great because that's what Rogue One does. Is it goes right up to the end before Star Wars too. So they all just connect so seamlessly.
It's a prequel. Rogue One is a prequel. Then we did a prequel, and it's So this is the prequel of the prequel, right?
A repeatquel.
Yeah. Exactly. We got very technical now. Like, suddenly everyone's like, oh, now.
I do think, and this is like,
and I appreciate that little tangent, by the way. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it wasn't little at all, and and you're fired. You're fired.
I
so
understand.
you'll now work with you'll go with Diego.
Okay.
Really? Yeah.
Okay.
You live with him now.
Okay.
I do think people talk.
I don't eat a lot.
It's not
People-
just work, you live with him.
People, I like that Diego has no say in it either. Well, Conan said so. And then there's bunk beds. You're in Mexico City in bunk beds. Oh, good night, Matthew.
Just one more thing about Cassian Andor.
Go to sleep. It does. People talk about this a lot, but and it can almost sound like a cliche, but it's so powerful that when you said you didn't see yourself in any of the Star Wars world when you were growing up, and it seemed like an impossibility to you that someone like you coming from from Mexico City could be in that world. And think of how powerful that is to millions of kids who are seeing you in this franchise. And what's fascinating is that it has, your role has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you grew up in Mexico. You know what I mean? It has nothing to do with that. You're just a great actor. And so it's fascinating to me that you weren't cast as the Mexican guy you are just there doing great acting. And that is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the more that happens in different cultures, I can't prove it, but I feel like it's the answer to a lot of our problems.
Well, yeah.
That's maybe me being overly optimistic, and
No, you're not.
I don't mean, but the more generations grow up with integration of different people in different roles, and they grow up admiring that person, and they be like, yeah, shit, man, Diego Luna, I love that character in that franchise. It's moving the puzzle piece a little forward, I think. Unless I'm being crazy.
No, I agree with you. I think it's if I think about the reference I grew up watching, following, and hoping one day I could be like them, compared to the ones that my kids are growing up with. It feels much diverse, interesting, rich today, and things are changing and getting there. And I always I always want to bring it back to where I think everything started happening, which is it's because of the audience. It's because the audience started to have a voice, and now all these tools that we have, they're terrible and dangerous in many ways, but they are also very useful.
Yeah.
And one very useful thing they do is that you can send messages. You click or you buy a ticket and you're sending a message, and the industry has to listen because they want you to keep clicking, And if you ignore, if you decide not to click, not to buy the ticket, you're also sending a message.
Mm-hmm.
So it's audiences who are somehow reshaping what the industry is talking about, what voices are there, what stories get to be made. It's still a process. We're not there yet, but the idea, I grew up watching those films where every decision in the movie business was made behind a desk, and someone was like, "This is what they want to see."
Big cigar.
Big
Here's
cigar.
what we're gonna do. See,
exactly. You got it right.
Yeah.
And today it's not like that. Today is people at home, clicking or not clicking, paying attention or not paying attention. So if we as audience act with responsibility, the responsibility that this, tool brings or gives you, we are having something to say on this industry that somehow for a long time it didn't seem to talk to us,
Yeah.
And now it is. So I think it's cool. I think I'm part of something big, I see many people coming from where I come from having an opportunity. You were just talking about how cool it was to travel with Javier in Spain. I mean, it is happening. It is happening somehow. And again, I think we can be really proud because it's a moment where you can be yourself.
Yes.
I grew up with people telling me, "Are you gonna work on your accent? Are you gonna clean your accent?" And I was like, "Clean your what? I mean, why do you think it's dirty? Or what's wrong with my accent? My accent is mine. It might not be yours, but But when I was 20, that was the thing. Is like, okay, you're doing great. What if you start working on your accent and you start sounding like these other people, and you can start doing what they can do, and today is a moment where that is changing, I think. I mean, I'm here because I bring what I am,
Yes.
and that's what got me here. I might not be there and not there, but I'm here because of this.
You're exactly where you're supposed to be and where you should be. Yeah.
And that's kind of like a cool idea and message.
Yes.
And also things are happening where sometimes you can do something in another context that not even thinking of traveling, and that can resonate with someone here or in Europe or in Japan or whatever.
Yes.
And so there's also like a respect and a search for a specificity that today is really cool in the movie making.
Well, I'm very proud to call you a friend. I'm honored. It was one of the great honors of my life that you came on my show in Mexico City and blessed our kooky project there, and just delighted to have you here. And I love what you represent. You're an artist and you're a really good guy, and just a pleasure, absolute pleasure to have you here.
Oh,
and
thank you so much.
Please come back and let's have an adventure together. I'll take you to Scotland.
Scotland, so much water. It's incredible.
That is not what the tourist bureau says. Scotland, so much water. But also, I think
so green, man. It is beautiful.
Also I accept your invitation to return to Mexico City and appear on a telenovela with you. And live with you. I think that was mentioned at some point.
That was mentioned. I get to live with you.
No, I'm living
Triple
with,
bunk bed.
Yeah, triple bunk
Yeah.
bed.
No,
You can
I'm
come
out.
too.
I'm out.
No, you're going to ask a lot. You're going to wake us up at night to ask him questions about Andor, and that bullshit is not happening. And I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to wake you up to correct you on your accent.
Yes, please.
In Spanish.
Very, very important. No, thank you so much. Because
This was so much fun, and
cool.
And come back soon, Diego.
I will.
And thank you for everything. Seriously, great to have you here.
Oh man, thank you all.
When I've listened to you and I've watched the show, it feels like one of the things that I never did this successfully. I never had beef with anybody.
I know.
And I always felt like that's kind of something that some people are very good at. And then I remembered once, it wasn't that long ago, but you guys had beef, but it didn't feel like it was worthy of you because it was with Jaleel White, And I felt like the things that are flawed, and I swear to God, you guys don't need my help. You need nothing from me, but I'm just going to offer constructive criticism. A better origin story. I like the new one you've come up with. You didn't meet in summer school. You met when you both killed an old woman accidentally and you buried her upstate. B, I love the beef thing. You've got to have, but it can't be Jaleel White. You've got to step it up a notch. It's got to be bigger than that.
Technically, we have beef with Obama. He came in hot talking spicy about our Knicks, and there's only but so much beef you can have with a former president. He can do drone strikes. He can have the Secret Service shoot you. So, it's not. We're still trying to work it out, but I think
Obama's
a
good guy. That's a good guy to have beef with. I've noticed he likes to talk smack. That guy. He likes to.
He does. He'll go back and forth.
I was years ago when I did White House Correspondents' Dinner. I'm there, and he's in a line greeting people before the dinner, and he's greeting people. And my brother had come down. My brother and his wife, Justin and Joanna, and they go up and they're taking a picture with the president and the first lady. And all of a sudden, I hear Obama. I'm standing in the corner, not taking a picture because I'm worried about my set. And I hear Conan, and I look over and it's President Obama, and he says, "Your brother, much better looking than you." See? And I'm like, what the fuck did I do?
Wow.
I'm just in the corner minding my own business.
Shots fired.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I thought he had to seek me out in the room to shit on me, and
Yeah.
he's
That's
that
wild.
guy. He's that guy. He is that guy. He knows he's
What
the
movie is that with the sniper? It's like Jude Law plays a sniper behind enemy lines.
Oh yeah, enemy
he-
at the gates.
Enemy at the gates. He just enemy at the gates to you, bro.
Yeah.
The White House Correspondents' Center.
I would have went with an American Sniper reference there, but enemy at the gates. That's,
I'm with you.
Yeah. Shout out to Matt. Matt's got all the deep cuts with snorks behind the gates. Whatever the fuck.
Yeah. That's your guy. Matt remembers everything.
Obama's like the roommate that slowly kills you using eye drops when you're not watching. Like you have to, like you don't see what he's doing, but he gets you.
Yes. He tricks you because he's got this, I don't know, I noticed it because we talked to him a couple of weeks ago and he's got this walk. He's got this very chill walk and he says he fools you with this, I'm a guy from Hawaii.
Yeah.
I don't get that worked up about stuff. I'm no drama Obama. I'm just, and so you're not expecting it. And also he's a man that has had to contemplate real problems and had the nuclear code. So you think there's no way he's going to take the time, make me look like a fool. And then he does.
Yep.
Oh,
He
no,
does.
He's got time.
Now
Have you seen his book? It's 80,000 pages. He's got
Yes.
plenty of time.
It is huge.
yes,
And the best part of Obama is he comes off, like you say, he comes off so cool. And you're like, oh, he's former president. He's so cool. He would probably have that same level of coolness if he was just like your aunt's unemployed husband that, sometimes stole some stuff. And you'd be like, I hate Barry, but you know what? He's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Barry's kind of a wild guy, but he's the number one real estate agent. You know what I mean?
He's a stand-up guy,
Or it annoys me that Barry doesn't get a job and he sleeps on the couch and he doesn't contribute to the rent, but he's a cool guy. He's a cool guy. And he's really funny.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
He's chill. He comes through with weed sometimes.
Or he's just like, hey, he's like, Conan, you hungry? They were having 2-for-1 Whoppers at Burger King. You're like,
Oh, thank you.
Hey,
this guy. All right.
Thank you.
so
That's so
thoughtful.
that was so nice of you. I'm always amazed by this. Humans will always find a way to have an attitude about someone else, even if it's you're on the south side of Chicago and you say there's like a chasm between the south side and the north side.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering, what's that all about?
Man, I have no idea, man. It's just Chicago is one of the most segregated cities, still is to this day.
Yeah.
It's the Irish is Irish on their side, the Hispanics on their side, Asians on their side. It's really bizarre when you go to Chicago right now. You go, wow, is it still like this? But it really is, and it's always been that way. But with stand-up in Chicago, I just never wanted to stay on the south side. I just always wanted to hit every area in the city to see if it worked, because I just always felt like, and I feel this way towards like barbers who do hair. I'd be like, why would you just do like black hair? Why wouldn't you just do all hair? You're a barber. Or why would you only do white hair? Do all hair. Like, because if you're a barber, be a barber, right?
Yeah.
Learn everybody's hair.
Have some curiosity. Yeah.
Do everybody's hair. And I felt that way with jokes. I felt like if I'm a comic, I'm not a black comic, I'm a comic.
Yeah.
So go go to all these parts of the city and do it. So it worked in my favor in a sense, but
Did you have friends that say, why are you going up to the north side? Or
it'd be crazy. I have friends in each part. Nobody hung out with each other, but I would go up north and be with all my white friends, and we'd do sets, and then I'll leave and I'll go over to the Hispanic part, and I got my Hispanic comedian friends, and I'll perform them, and my Asian friends. I would just go around the city, and so I just always, had a good relationship with everybody, and so and I thought that way when I wrote. I thought like, I don't want to write this and then have to rewrite it. So let me just do it this one time, and hopefully it'll work with everybody. And it could be hood enough, but smart enough as well that everybody can get it. And to this day, I just try to write like that, where it takes me 2 years to write a special. When a lot of people it takes them one year. I only can do it every 2 years.
Well, first of all, to be fair to you, you're busy doing a lot of other stuff.
I mean,
you've got, it's not your only gig. But how do you write? Do you write on stage, or do you like sit down?
No, I have to live. have to live. I have to put myself in situations I wouldn't normally be in order to like find something funny, you know.
So when you do a bit about murdering a stranger,
yeah, I either know someone who did it, I either know someone who just murdered someone, or I thought about it. No, but I go like, I was just at NASCAR, like probably about 8 months ago. I was there and just at NASCAR, just soaking it in. Like, I was in the pit masters and all that shit, and I was sitting there. I didn't know what the fuck was going on, but I just noticed the car just kept going around in circles, and everybody had beers and shit, and outfits and checkered pants. I still don't know what the checker shit is about, but it was like, oh, it's checkered shit. And
how did you? Wait a minute. So,
well, we had a good goddamn time.
But you know, but someone didn't like anesthetize you, knock you out, and take you to NASCAR. You chose to go there. Who invited you to NASCAR?
Yo, NASCAR.
Oh, okay.
That's a man?
NASCAR was like, hey, you want to come to
J. NASCAR.
Louis J. NASCAR.
So they invited you.
They invited
Did you
me.
perform there or no?
I think a lot of people was like, fuck no. And I was like, hell yeah, let me go. I didn't perform nothing. I just went. I went to the writers meeting, the drivers meeting before. I sat there with them. I went. They had like a red carpet. I'm going to tell you how white it was there. They had this red carpet. And I walked the red carpet, and no one even looked at me. And I was standing. It was one black lady with an iPhone that took a picture of me. It was all these photographers with real cameras. It was just one black lady like, I love you, Old Spice commercials. Click. I was like, thank you. And
I'm wearing Old Spice now because of you.
I walk up, nobody saying nothing to me. But then everybody else came up. They was screaming everybody's name. Like, that's how it was. But we had so much fun, man. After a while, we was just like having fun and joking about the shit. And people started finding out that I was they were finding out that I was a comedian. They was like, hey, what you do? And I was like, oh, jokes. Oh, I like jokes. Come on. And we hung out and they grilled and shit. We just fucking kicked it, man. And I was like, man, I like this. And I left with a hot 5 minutes on NASCAR.
You know what's really fun?
I went to all the black clubs. Anybody go NASCAR?
Nothing.
Nothing. Silence.
Crickets.
Silence.
Yeah.
Silence.
This is the problem is if you go too far into exploring other worlds, you'd be like, so I'm in Bermuda and I'm buying Madras shorts. You guys with me? Hey, where's everyone going? You still got to take, you don't want to go too far.
You got to read the room, man.
Yeah.
And that's the problem. But I still had the material and I'm going to use it one day. No, but I have to, man. I have to do that. That's how I write, man. I have to like do things I normally want to do, or listen. I like to listen a lot. Like a lot of people might think I talk a lot. I go in a room full of people. I'm quiet. I'm just listening to everybody's story and everything, and just trying to find funny in it, you know. And that's just it, Conan's like that too. Conan, I remember what happened that time. I think somehow I went to the hospital. He was like, let's film it.
Sure. Some people would wait to see how serious is it. And I'm like, well, before we do that, let's make sure we get it on. Let's make sure we monetize whatever's happening to Dion. Right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I remember they kicked me off the lot and I had nowhere to park at and shit.
I remember that.
You remember that?
So, Sona, say what happened.
I didn't even know this could happen. But every time you park illegally on the lot, they give you a warning. And I think everyone at some point got a warning. But Dion got so many warnings that they didn't let him park on the lot anymore. They like revoked his parking privileges.
Yep.
So you had to park, I think, down the street.
And walk into the lot.
You're parking a Bentley at a meter?
Wait, you really had a Bentley?
Yes!
It was beautiful.
It was gorgeous. It's the only Bentley I've ever seen.
It was white. It was convertible.
It was beautiful. I've never in my whole life ridden in a Bentley, and I asked Dion, and he said no.
No.
He said, "I want your leather pants stinking up."
I used to park in this. It was a parking space on Warner Brothers. And the parking space say Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
And I parked there every day. Cause I'm like, ain't no motherfucking Bruce Willis parking in here.
And it
So
Bentley seems like it could be him.
I parked there for like 7 months. Nobody said nothing. Right in front, right there in front. I was like, nothing.
No, because
And then one day they tripped out and was like, you can't park in Bruce Willis. Bruce Willis ain't parking here.
So the one day he does, and he pulls up in a white Bentley.
Yeah. And they beat him. So
You were here already.
Oh my God.
She got kicked off the lot. Yeah.
And then we did this bit where you let me park on the stage.
Yeah.
And we had to rent a car. And I pulled on the stage and the car stayed there the whole show.
Yeah.
And then at the end, I got my car and
Backed
left.
So I'm watching your special and I'm laughing really hard. And you have so much great material about being single and, having relationships with different women. And I'm watching and I'm like,
say it normally. It makes you so
I'm sorry.
uncomfortable.
Did you guys know I became an ordained Lutheran minister over the weekend? Anyway, yeah, finally. No, but I'm watching it and I'm laughing really hard. And I always think when I'm watching someone, it's natural to think this person's talking about this life and this is so funny. And then I'm realizing, I don't do any comedy about this. I wonder why. And I'm like, oh, right. I've been married for 22 years. I go home. We eat some broiled chicken. And then we watch some foreign television show that was made in Norway.
But not French.
Not French. That gets a little too heated. And then we arrange the curtain that separates us in our double bed. But it was like, but your comedy is so much draws on your personal life and these experiences, and it's so funny, and your observations are so funny, and I'm like, I'm just living vicariously through you because, and then I'm thinking it'd be really funny if I went out and I did a special about me and I talked about all that stuff and it was complete bullshit.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I basically if I had Dion write it for me.
Yes. Oh, that
And
would
it's
be great.
me just going out there saying, here's another thing.
Remember we used to do that with Brian Kylie.
Yeah, Brian Kylie.
I used to send him out there with something I wrote.
Yeah.
He would say that stuff. Yeah. No, but here's the thing though. But it's beautiful. It's beautiful. That was the beauty of our dynamic, was that these two worlds collided.
Yeah.
And they collided, and it was just unrelentless funniness that went on. Like, I think, what is that one video? Remember when I took you to that soul food restaurant?
Yes.
I love that remote. It's just the two of you talking. But it's so funny.
It's so funny. Like, it was pure. It's the pureness of that,
Yeah.
I came to work with some food in a Cool Whip bowl, and it was like, what's that? And I'm like, soul food, I was like, Conan ain't never had soul food. I'm like, he ain't never had soul food. Shit, let's go get some soul food.
Let's go.
And Mike Sweeney's like, let's do it.
Let's do it.
And kaboom.
See what's wrong with these pork chops? What's wrong with them, Dion?
No gravy.
They're not smothered.
They're not smothered.
That's the best one.
I mean, it's just the pureness of that. So your world and my world colliding was always just the best.
Well, I
man.
think one of the things that is, I think it's funny because we come obviously from completely different places, but we both find similar things really funny.
Absolutely.
And that's my favorite way to connect with people. My favorite way to connect with people is you find people and you just laugh about things. And that is, I mean, I don't know. What's nicer than that?
It's the fish out of the water beauty. And it wasn't just happening just on stage. It was just like in real life too. That was just fun, you know? I mean, one day he came to work and there was a Bentley in his parking space. And he was like, who the fuck has a Bentley? That works for me. I'm looking out the window. Hey, get away from my Bentley.
Hey, lady.
Hey, lady, get away from that Bentley. I just watched that motherfucker.
I remember that so well.
God.
Remember that so well. Looking out the window. Andy Richter doesn't have a Bentley. He's driving a Volkswagen Thing from 1975.
Wearing leather pants.
Leather pants. Right.
Just about to give them away. Man, these things stink. I know. Conan's birthday's coming up.
Let's give him the Conan.
I could get these cleaned or I could wrap it up in a J. Crew box and give them to Conan. He's stupid enough. He'll wear them.
Hi, my name is David Sedaris, and I feel fantastic about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
That's so nice, because last time you came on, you said apprehensive.
I know, but I didn't know you. And then I gotta say, I said to people afterwards, I said, he's the greatest guy. I said, you know, there's one thing, you know, you see somebody on television, or even if you go on television, you know, because that's more of a kind of a mill situation, you know, and there's a pre-interview and all that stuff. But I said, no, if you met him, I said, you'd be crazy about him.
That's so nice. Now, of course, my mind goes right to what's wrong with the television persona. Why didn't that grab you? It's almost as if you're saying, and this is how I hear things, isn't it crazy? Conan O'Brien seems like a really great guy, despite what you would think. That's what I hear. Anybody else?
Well, guess what I meant was, you know what? It's not about you. It's about me. Because if I have to go on TV, I just want this to be over, and I'm really nervous about it, and I'm terrified, and I'm trying to remember what it is that I'm supposed to say. So it's really not about you; it's about me. But this is a bit different. I don't know, in part because it's not being filmed, and
who's going to tell them that there are 4 cameras here, so this is being filmed.
So many hot HD cameras.
And guess what? There's a live audience watching at the Staples Center. 35,000 people are watching right now.
But when I first did your show had just started.
Oh, that was
so that was a long time ago.
Yeah, and things were pretty rough back then. I would often cry halfway through the interview,
but I think
for no reason.
But I think we were both with the same people back then.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, we were, actually.
We don't need to find new partners every few years.
No.
We don't need to do that.
No.
That's for other people. Someone's relationship's got to last, right? That's
well,
the way
how long
I
have
look
you,
at
because,
it.
you know, I know you've been with Hugh for quite a long time.
31 years.
Wow. 31 years.
Yeah.
I've been with my wife for 22. 6 of those years quite happy. Really off the charts. We are people that go the long haul. That's what I say.
When my sister Amy was here, she would attribute that to our astrological signs.
Oh.
She's constantly trying to convert me, you know, to...
I've never been a believer. I don't understand what the position of the stars has to do with anything.
No,
and so I adore your sister. She's one of the most talented people I've ever met and just a delightful person. But I think she's off her rocker if she thinks that Pluto's position has anything to do with how we behave or what we're doing. Do you know what I mean?
No, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I feel that about astrology. I feel that way about ghosts.
Yes.
I hate hearing about ghosts. When you're at a dinner or something and someone says, I stayed at this Holiday Inn and it's haunted. And okay, that Holiday Inn is 7 years old. And my house My house in England is 500 years old, right? So why isn't my house? If anyone's house was going to be haunted, it would be mine.
I love a 7-year-old structure being haunted. Who's haunting it? Well, it was someone who worked in Obama's second administration. He worked it with OSHA, but what happened? Oh, he just got a blister and it got out of control and he passed away. But he haunts. And the other thing, when we've talked about this, is it really irritates me that there doesn't seem to be any rules about why a place is haunted. Meaning sometimes a place is haunted because the person died there, which makes sense to me. But then there are other people that say, oh, no, it's haunted by an old coal miner who, oh, really? Well, where did he die? Did he die here in the house? Oh, no. He died like 65 miles from here. But then he took public transportation and set up shop in this house that was built 4 years ago that has solar panels. And you're like, no.
No, according to an expert that Amy talked to, ghosts can come into your house by way of secondhand clothing. So if you go to Goodwill and you bring home a T-shirt, that could be bringing a ghost into your house. If you buy a piece of antique furniture,
Oh,
a
my
ghost
house
can
is
come
full
into
of
your
ghosts
house that
then.
way.
Yeah, it's like a deer tick, a ghost now. So when your kids have been out playing, you should check them for ghosts when they come back in the house to make sure that everything's. Oh no! Hold on a second. There's an old widower of a sea captain clinging to your calf.
But see, that way you could have had your house built for you. And you could move into it, and there could be a ghost because somebody who came to put new filters in the air conditioner, the ghost could have traveled.
Also,
that way.
Ghosts are often up to not much. Someone will you'll say, how do you know there's a ghost? They'll say, well, at night I can hear there's a radiator grate that's on the 3rd floor, but towards the back, and it's slightly always adjusting. You're like, if you were in the afterlife for all eternity, that's what you'd be doing, is adjusting a radiator grate?
But they always make it seem like, okay, you have ghosts in your house, but you're so self-centered. You're so shallow that you can't pick up on them, right? So it's something about your personality.
Right.
It's you're deficient in some way because you can't pick up on the ghost. This other in-tune person
Can
could
pick up on it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just bullshit from beginning to end, the whole ghost thing.
Yeah, ghosts, astrology. Amy Sedaris, if you're out there listening, we're not having it. We're not having it. And your brother and I are ganging up on you.
Well, we need to arrange an intervention.
Yes.
That's what we need to do.
Who were the actors that you were watching when you were seeing cinema, when you're seeing film, when you're coming along, where you thought, okay, that person is inspiring me. That person's showing me the way.
I mean, my two big heroes, probably Sidney Poitier and Daniel Day-Lewis. My mom's favorite film was Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Yeah.
So we would watch that time and time again, and his poise, someone who looked like. I get emotional just thinking about it, but someone who looked like me, and had the bearing of my father and my uncles, and that was just not something you saw almost at all. Certainly not in films that were universally acclaimed, like In the Heat of the Night as well, which is just a formative piece of cinema for me. But then also just seeing Daniel Day-Lewis in My Left Foot and just thinking, I simply do not understand how it is possible for an actor to achieve that level of embodiment. When I found out he was able-bodied, when I heard him speak, and he was so opposite to that. It was the moment I determined that as an actor, the thing I want to aspire to be the most is chameleonic. Someone who you role to role, you're going, which way is he going to go next? Because that's what I love about Daniel Day-Lewis. That's what I love about Christian Bale. That's what I love about what I get to do, is I have no interest in playing some kind of version of myself. I always want to go to the character.
Yeah, there's obviously a tradition in movies where someone's always playing a version of themselves, and not just Americans, but worldwide, people make room for that and they really like it. Some of the iconic movie stars are just playing, you almost want to laugh when they say, well, my character in this. You're like, what do you mean your character in this?
Right.
I'm sorry, Clint Eastwood, I love you.
Right.
But you're always,
Right.
let me guess, you're
Right.
squinting, you're a man of few words, and you're going to kick the shit out of somebody if they wrong you.
Yeah, and we love you for it.
And we love you for it.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. We love you for it. But this idea of that you can shapeshift, you say that you look at, Daniel Day-Lewis, and when you first saw him and said, I don't understand. And I look at what you do and I think, yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand it. I have incredible admiration for it, but almost it's mystical to me. It's something that's so far beyond anything that I could do. And I love to see, it's very inspiring that you use this gift to, you use it for a very noble purpose, which I think is a lovely thing.
Thank you. Well, I'm so glad you used the phrase mystical, because this is where you can kind of get into what kind of feels conceited territory.
Yep.
But to me, in the moment of playing Dr. King, or even with Bass Reeves, I remember us shooting on an actual plantation, and it was a plantation where 80 people had been enslaved back in the day. It was an incredibly difficult place to shoot because, I kid you not, the ghosts of that fact were present, and the nature of the scenes that we were doing were all the more difficult, all the more true, all the more lived in for that fact. And there is a kind of exchange that is mystical, spiritual, and it's about how much you're prepared to open yourself up to that in order to be flowed through by the history, by the writing, by the direction, by the other actors, with the audience in mind. What are you, by way of service, offering up to them? And what we do, what I am so privileged to do, is you're constantly in the pursuit of trying to capture lightning in a bottle. And there are certain circumstances under which there is more likelihood for that to happen than others. And it's about an openness. And that openness, if I've done my work, if I am staying to a certain degree in the character, if I'm open to what is coming at me by way of stimulus, that has been the moments where, even now when I watch Selma, I have a complete disconnection from it, because I was in a place I almost can't fully quantify or understand because of the alchemy of what was happening in that moment. And that's the joy, that's the benefit of when you're doing it at the highest level with directors like Ava DuVernay and incredible actors around you and great writing. It's a mystical thing.
You mentioned something that I completely believe in. Of course, it makes sense that you go back to a plantation and pick up on this trauma. You know what I mean? That you would, and that would inform what you're doing.
I'm so glad that you've talked about this, because it's one of the tricky things as a producer you face when you're trying to tell a true story, and you go, oh yeah, there's a good tax break in Canada and you go, actually with this story, I think we've got to fight to be in the place. And every time it has yielded intangible but indisputable benefits. We had that. We shot on the Edmund Pettus Bridge for Selma. We were there.
Right.
We were on the Montgomery State House steps where Dr. King gave that speech. And it's going to sound so crazy, but that morning of giving that speech, the FBI had told him, you will be assassinated if you do that speech. It's too open. We have no way to protect you. And he chose to give that speech anyway. And I woke up with this just overwhelming sense that I was going to be assassinated that day. I know it doesn't fully make sense, but it wasn't till the end of that day where we had shot the scene and it was done, I found myself going, gosh, I'm still alive. And it was to do with being in that place. We shot a United Kingdom in Botswana. They wanted us to shoot it in South Africa. There was a completely different vibe from being there. Same thing with Queen of Cartway, shooting it in Cartway. There is energy that you pick up, finds its way onto the celluloid, finds its way through the screen into the audience. And at the end of the day, the true job of a storyteller is the pursuit of the truth. And the audience can feel when they are getting a watered down version of that. And you come out just going, the film was okay. You're not necessarily saying it wasn't true, but when you have been served up something that feels truly authentic, it speaks to the human being in you, which is why the best films we love, you have a protagonist that you can tether yourself to and you go, I am relating to this character. I am working out what I would do in this scenario. That's because they are a three-dimensional, believable human being that you can relate to.
I'm invested in them too.
That's it.
I'm invested in them. I really care what happens to this person.
Right. And that can only happen if it's true, if it feels true to what it is to be a human being.
Well, I could talk to you for 50 hours. I seriously could.
Likewise.
And it's the delightful thing. There are many delightful things about you, but the fact that we started out, there's so much just laughing, just really good-natured humor, and then we get to this other place that's really beautiful. That's my favorite kind of podcast conversation. And I shouldn't even say podcast conversation. That's my favorite kind of conversation.
Yeah, mine
It
too.
really means a lot to me. So go forth, continue to do great things.
Thank you.
And I am just a massive fan. You're welcome here anytime.
Oh, I appreciate it.
And if you see a really good part for me as a producer,
A statuesque blonde.
A statue.
You could have ended. You could have ended it.
I'm just saying.
You could have ended it.
A sort of a
You did end it.
later in life Marilyn, just before the end.
Wrap it
I
up.
can see you
tall
being a
blonde-
great incompetent senator. I can see that in Coriolanus.
I'm there.
Fabulous.
I am there. And
Maybe
trust
not
me,
your production. I don't think you.
And you know what?
Yeah.
He'd bring it down.
You know what I love?
Okay.
David,
Local theater.
David would be recommending me to every other Shakespeare producer in London.
As a
And they'd be like, well, how come
strategic
you don't? How come you don't? No. I think he's better for you. He's going to be fantastic.
His reviews rave. And all the other ones.
Exactly. I'd be like, yes, mission accomplished. We
Conan
took him
O'Brien-
down.
Conan O'Brien has ruined yet another Shakespearean play.
Every time you play a role, you cast him in the.
David, bless you. Thank you so much for
Thank
being
you.
here.
This was great.
This series that you made, Lawmen, the Bass Reeves, about Bass Reeves, is a great story. And you're depicting a real person who, I can't imagine a character who's more marginalized than this character.
yeah.
You talk about, someone who has literally been cast in the worst position and has to try and figure, you could tell the story better than I can, but has to try and figure out their way literally from being a slave to being someone who's enforcing the law.
Yeah.
This is a story you've been trying to tell for a long time.
For a long time, yeah. It was 8 years.
8 years.
An 8-year journey. Yeah, I first encountered the notion of Bass Reeves in 2014, and as someone who was a fan of westerns growing up, as I told you, I was a bit of a TV addict, so I loved watching them, and I never saw anyone who looked like me in them. But I still wanted to be a cowboy. I didn't even realize that there was an image I was missing in terms of me as a Black person in relation to that beloved genre and that, incredible history in America specifically. So in 2014, when I found out who Bass Reeves was, and it felt like a story that kind of writes itself in a sense, in terms of his achievements, like you say, born into enslavement, ends up escaping enslavement by beating his master nearly to death, and then living with Native Americans for a time, which is where he accrued the skills he used when he was deployed as a deputy U.S. Marshal, and went on to have a 32-year career at the most dangerous time in the most dangerous place in America's history. And the only reason we have him is because of the Reconstruction era that came directly after the Civil War, where Black people were given the kind of agency that they had never had before. And that's what enabled him to sort of have the kind of rise whereby, can you imagine the whiplash of being enslaved and being treated so poorly by white people, and suddenly you are empowered to arrest those, a lot of who were disgruntled because you are now no longer a slave, but someone who has agency.
The very idea that someone who grew up in slavery, a Black man who grew up in slavery, would be able to hold a gun,
right,
was something that was completely unimaginable,
right,
let alone then be in charge of enforcing the law.
And then have a badge, yeah.
Early on in the show, it wasn't clear what your relationship was. You're in battle, and then there's a moment where it very much looks like you're serving alongside this general, this officer. And then at one point when the battle's over, you start to walk in one direction and he says, where are you going? And you shift your whole tone to this very servile,
Right.
which was a great moment because you could see you're playing a character who also has to play a character.
Exactly.
So you then become this person who's, I'm just going over there, and you're very, very docile, very, I'm not looking for any trouble. And realize in that moment, he's your master in this situation.
Right.
Which is freaky. And then to see you go through that whole arc is, I don't understand why, because when you hear about the story, and I then went and looked up Bass Reeves, you think, why did this take 8 years? This is a fantastic story.
Yeah. And more importantly, why did this take the entire advent of cinema and TV before we have a in my opinion, a show, a film that is commensurate with the show? I mean, he's turned up in shows as peripheral or tangential, but never central, never with this kind of focus. And when you think about where the Western occupies in the lexicon of cinema and TV, you can only point to one thing, which is racism, in relation to why we haven't yet seen this character, someone who many people believe is the inspiration for the Lone Ranger, in fact, in terms of the exploits that he engaged in and with and what the Lone Ranger represents in terms of what we see in those stories. But it's interesting what you talked about there, the code switching that he has to employ in order to survive, something that is very much alive and well for the marginalized in any society nowadays if you want to get ahead, especially here in America. But that was what was such a gift to play as an actor, because he was always incredible. And it was an opportunity that came along that he seized that allowed him to be the totality of who he could be and who he was. And that was afforded in this country in the 1860s. And the thing that
and then tragically taken away
with Jim Crow.
Yeah.
But it's exactly why it was taken away, because people like Bass Reeves were rising to the fore, and that was in and of itself a threat.
What's amazing is, I was thinking about it, because in your career, you've played so many roles in different historical periods. And I was thinking you're from the UK and Nigeria, but you may know more American history than most Americans, just because of these roles that you're playing.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. And it's funny, it's 1865 through to the now. And that was, I had my Daniel Day-Lewis moment in Lincoln, playing a Unionist soldier opposite him, berating him for spouting the Gettysburg Address, but not living by its tenets, and saying, when are Black people going to get the vote? And then in Selma, 19 presidents, 100 years later, in 1965, I'm asking the same thing of Lyndon Johnson: when are Black people going to get the vote? And then in The Butler, we go from the 50s through to the 2000s when Obama becomes president. I play a Tuskegee Airman in Red Tails as well. I was a preacher in The Help. And then you have with Bass Reeves, the 1860s. So yeah, it's this sort of 150, 160 period in America's formative history that I've been blessed to tell some of those stories.
You've had an amazing education in American history in a very unusual way.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, maybe they either don't know it or they forget that right after the Civil War, there was this moment in Reconstruction where many former slaves are running for office, and they're office holders, and it really does look like the promise is being met.
Yeah.
And then bang, the door comes down, and it becomes very regressive the other way.
Yeah, and that was one of the reasons I was so passionate about telling this story, because that is such an incredible moment in this country's history. And for reasons that, I'm sure we can guess, that period has not been mined enough. It's actually a shameful period in America's history, because it was the opportunity to deliver on the promise of what America wanted or said it wants to be. And then the reneging on that was so extreme with Jim Crow coming in, and anyone who was marginalized, being, whether it be sharecropping or lynching or all the way through to the civil rights movement, was the next time there was any kind of push towards the kind of agency and justice that was promised by Lincoln. And so, but it is the moment that birthed Tulsa and that awful situation. But there are African Americans who did extraordinary things in those 12 to 13 years, which I'm just so desirous that we get to see more of that, because in many ways it is a celebration of what America is, could be, should be. And that's why I love doing these historical films, because we are so quick to forget. I mean, the moment that we're in Hollywood right now is a pendulum swing from the Black Lives Matter movement, the Me Too movement, these moments very recently where there were huge gains made that are now being clawed back because we just refuse to learn from history and build on the knowledge accrued, which is why, for me, storytelling is not just about entertainment. It's about holding culture and our communal community accountable.
I always go back to the same thought, which is we're a work in progress. America, the United States. It's a work in progress, and you have to acknowledge the terrible mistakes and flaws. You also have to acknowledge the great aspects of the culture. You have to, and you just have to keep going back at it.
Absolutely.
Getting back into the conversation and saying, how can we move the puzzle piece a little bit further? And the pendulum will swing. It'll go right. It'll go left. We just have to keep nudging it along. And
absolutely. I always say you cannot be what you cannot see. And you need to see it. You need to see those great moments in order to continue to aspire towards them. And to me, Bass Reeves is a great moment, not just a great man, but it's a great moment. And it's to me, I know it sounds a bit lofty, but it's a clarion call to how do we keep on finding our way back to our better selves? That's what Selma was for me as well. That's what Queen of Cartway was. That's what A United Kingdom was. That's certainly, the work I'm most proud of. I think that that's an element of it, because I agree with you. That's part of how we be better is to know more.
How do you relax? Because you are clearly, very professional and capable of really focusing. What takes you out of all of that? What do you do just to chill if you've had a long day on the set or a long day of trying to memorize Coriolanus or any of the Shakespeare works? How do you come out of that?
I have a very bizarre way of relaxing, which is to watch mixed martial arts. I am obsessed with UFC, and it's completely weird, but watching two men turn each other's faces into burger meat literally calms me down. And my wife, and the reason I know that is my because a lot of my Saturday tends to be dedicated to this means of relaxation. My wife cannot bear it. Neither can my daughter, just how bloody these guys can get. So my wife will watch me watching it in order to spend time with me on a Saturday. And she was like, "What? I'm so tense watching this. Why are you so calm, relaxed?" And I realized what it is, in what I do, because I produce movies and TV shows as well, it is so hard to get anything made. It is so hard to get to the point of a result. Two men or two women go in this cage. They have 3 5-minute rounds. Someone will win. Someone will get a result out of this endeavor. It will be on the basis. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Because I agree with your wife. Where anytime I've watched UFC, I've tensed up, and it makes me so. It does the opposite of calm me down. So I'm shocked. This is how you chill out.
I know, but it's on the basis of so much preparation. They do something truly unnatural. They have to master 5, 6, 7, 8 different disciplines, the amount of training, the amount of the weight cut, all these things they have to do to prepare, which is tantamount to some of what you do as an actor. You prepare.
Yes. Yeah.
And as an actor, you don't know what the reviews are going to be. You don't know what the box office is going to be. You don't know if the film is ever going to come out. There's something so satisfying that within those 15 minutes, if it's 3 rounds, or 25 minutes if it's 5 rounds, you will have a result. That just puts me in such a zen place. It's bizarre, but that's how I relax.
When did you discover UFC? Like, when did you realize this is my drug? This relaxes me.
It is like a drug for me. It's probably within the last 5 to 7 years.
Yeah.
Which is, it's synonymous with when I've done some of the work I'm most proud of from a screen perspective and from a producing perspective. You know, to be a Black person in Hollywood, to be a producer in Hollywood, to be someone who has the taste I have when it comes to the kind of stories I want to tell. I'm always trying to color outside of the lines. I'm always trying to give context to hitherto unseen, unknown characters' stories. My mantra is, how do we normalize the marginalized? And in an industry that is so fear-based, so constantly looking for a comp or what has come before, and you're trying to do something that is, you know, hopefully groundbreaking, it's just, you spend your days in a state of wanting to bash your head against a wall quite a lot of the time. So this is.
Have you considered participating in a UFC fight?
Thankfully, I discovered this when I was a bit older.
Okay.
You have quite a nice face, and I would hate to see anything happen to that face.
Yeah, it's not a sport that does well with not the face. So no,
I would be not the body or face in any way.
Not the me.
Yeah, I would enter with a producer. I would enter like with Jeff Ross or
surrogate
or Jordan Slansky, right? And they would beat on that person.
I see.
Oh, right.
And then I would, if they for some reason won, I would take the credit for it.
You can do the victory lap.